So after the disastrous launch of FIFA 20, it's finally got that huge update that everyone was waiting for. Ultimate Team has had some changes, Volta has had some major changes, big things have happened to the gameplay, and of course career mode finally has been fixed, although possibly in the other direction. Before the update, teams in like the Premier League, say Manchester City and Liverpool, were simply putting out the kids all the time instead of playing their big stars. This had meant teams like this would sometimes even get relegated in people's career mode saves. However, after the new update, this seems to have gone the other way, where these big teams are suddenly getting over 100 points and not losing a single game all season, and this is happening throughout Europe and in every big league. Maybe they fixed it the wrong way, hopefully the next update will fix that again. But you never know, it might break it all. Bethesda has gone back on one of its original promises with Fallout 76 by bringing out something called Fallout First. Players can now pay about $99.99 a year to get themselves unlimited storage and also get private servers. However, a lot of the community doesn't like this at all, and one person in particular called David Chapman has gone an extra step in his displeasement. He has gone, and quite incredibly, he's bought the domain name for Fallout First, meaning that he owns that and Bethesda can't get their hands on it. He has, however, told Bethesda that if he can sit down with the game's director Todd Howard to talk about things and be a middleman between the developers and the community, he'll happily give them the domain name back. It literally costs him 20 quid. Other players are taking out their frustrations in a completely different way. By in passive mode, they're simply going up to these players that have bought Fallout First and crowding up on them and beating them up. Although this isn't doing anything, it's basically saying, well, you shouldn't be paying them money. I mean, maybe this will actually just get Bethesda to go, oh, you know what, we screwed up. Look, we're really good. We're listening to the community yet again. In what has been some quite sad news, The Last of Us Part 2 has been delayed until the 29th of May 2020. Neil Druckmann came out in a blog post and basically said they need this extra few months just to make the game all up to that polish that everyone expects of a Naughty Dog game. Of course, there are a lot of fans that are not happy about that because they were looking forward to the game, some even voicing on Twitter that they'd actually booked off a few days just to play The Last of Us Part 2. They're also not happy, of course, that the game won't come out with a fully fledged multiplayer, although we do expect this to come as there's still job listings for a multiplayer mode. There's been a lot of leaks lately about the upcoming Overwatch 2, which is expected to be announced next week at BlizzCon. Now, I'm not going to actually report on what's been said because there's no telling if these are true, and when it comes to Blizzard, chances are they actually might not be. But it's going to be a very, very interesting reveal, especially what's happened at their esport events lately to do with Hong Kong and China. Of course, we'll have to wait and see next week at BlizzCon if there's going to be any sort of protest to do with that, and if that completely overshadows the next Overwatch. Google has opened its first-party studio for Stadia in Montreal. At the moment, they're simply saying it's just going to be focusing on indie sort of titles, but eventually their studios will concentrate on a first-party full AAA experience. That is probably quite a bit down the line, and they're saying this is the first studio of many, so we'll have to wait and see what Google actually does with all this and how Stadia even turns out. It's out pretty soon. Of course, now we get into the big games that are out this week, and of course the big one of them all is Call of Duty Modern Warfare. It's finally out, and it's even got a single player campaign, and it looks like it's actually worth playing. There has, however, been a lot of problems with the multiplayer with reviewers, with a lot of reviewers saying there's just not enough difference between maps, and the maps just aren't that good anyway. The other big game that's out, by the way, is The Outer Worlds, and I've been playing through this, and there's a review coming out soon, so spoiler alert, it's awesome. I'm not going to go into any more details because that's going to be a Games to You video. So thank you very much for watching. I will see you next week. Goodbye.